Remember this one, okay, the work begins. Going to answer a few questions. What was the compression test result? Well, you should watch all the injector information videos in the playlist on our YouTube channel 4x4 Diesel. So injector information, it'll talk about the compression test. We've been doing this for quite a while on these 1KDs, let's say. Maybe that's trying to be a bit modest, but and it goes through the compression test and why you do it and why you don't and what the results are going to be. So check that playlist out. Now, somebody said they've got 600,000 Ks with original injectors, no problems. Well, I'll tell you something, you are super lucky and you must be doing highway Ks, 600,000 Ks in 6 years or something like that. So we need more detail. Or you're really lucky, or it's about to blow up and it's running like a crop, but you wouldn't even actually know. Like this one seemed to be idling pretty well. Most people wouldn't know what's going on with their car. A couple other questions. How would I get mine to last 400 Ks? Just blank EJ and remove DPF. Well, these 1KDs, there's no DPF. It's not the situation. You need to watch the videos. Injector information playlist and EGR information playlist. And I suppose one of the most important questions, actually one other guy, he's done 430,000 kilometers, no injectors changed, just the regular service. Once again, just lucky like this, about to blow up any minute. It probably doesn't do any towing or touring around Australia either. It's the combination of these things which will cause the problems. They are a very tough engine. Once again, I'll say it, it's not the pistons, it's wrong combustion. This has got massively wrong combustion going on. If you use it for towing or touring around Australia, long, heavy, sustained loads in this sort of condition, you're basically guaranteed this one wouldn't get far at all. Oh, a question from Stu Bates. Sounds like he's a bit of an expert, could even know more than us, so we should listen to what Stu says. What's the chance that pistons are already damaged from the bad injectors? Well, if you're asking that question, you haven't watched the videos. Injector information playlist, cracked pistons playlist, stuff like that. What is the chances, Stu? You tell me in the next comment from watching the videos. He says, pistons don't just crack like a fuse. Some people believe they do, but you're actually right about that. Blowing, it's something that happens over time. Do you drop camera down bores? You have the injectors out. Well, once again, it's all in the injector information playlist. We've discussed that, and you'll find all the answers in the videos. There's other people who would like to know the answer to this too. I would suggest the injector information playlist. Spend some time, you'll really get yourself educated. See some real live experiences. So to go over it again for people that hung around a few minutes for a bit of chit chat answering some questions, there's always a risk, okay? So there's definitely always a risk. Let's have a look, see if we can see in this EGR. It's probably blown clear. So this is one that's been pretty caked up over time, but as the engine gets older, it's got a bit more blow-by, a bit more oil, sort of washing it through, that sort of thing. So it hasn't got a massive cake up, I'd say, but we're going to get all that off and clean that up. With the cracked piston thing, yes, the cracks may have started. Quite often that can happen. You can even see engines with 100,000 Ks with remaps, chips, and this sort of thing at very low kilometers, whether they're cracked or the cracks have started. And of course, it's not just one, some people sort of believe, oh, so it's just piston quality and it's just the odd random one piston here or there. And what rules that out as being accurate is when we see an engine at 100,000 Ks and it's got a remap or a chip and a cracked piston, and the other pistons has got cracks as well. So it didn't just happen to be this engine's got 4 bad pistons and the next 1,000 engines didn't have a problem with pistons. There's always a reason for cracked pistons. It's not normal, it shouldn't happen. Yep, they should have done better, but it is a 4-cylinder in a big four-wheel drive, and it is very rare, especially if you do the maintenance. It's been stated by Toyota that injectors, wrong combustion is the cause of cracked pistons. Next level is obviously it happens a lot quicker and a lot worse with chips or remaps, tunes, whatever you want to call it. So there's always a risk that the pistons could have started to crack, but like I've said with this one, it doesn't have a bull bar, it doesn't go touring Australia, it doesn't tow big caravans around. Even though it's running rubbish, we'll probably do the work on this vehicle and it'll probably still be running in another 400,000 Ks if it continues to be used the same way. So I don't want to go over it too much over and over again. People get sick, people that watch the videos, they get sick and tired of listening to the same thing again. And you know, this is a bit of that, but it's a bit of an exciting one because we've got 400,000 Ks and everybody wants to see what's going to happen in here, because that is just, there's no recommended schedule by Toyota for injector replacement. I'm the recommended schedule. Subscribe, turn the bell on, and you just get the right information. We show you the actual experiences we have, and then you can use the information to make your own decision. Whether you want to leave them for 400,000 Ks, hey, be my guest. It doesn't bother me. We're busy and we don't actually want to be busy. So if you don't want to do it, and you don't need an injector kit, no problem. If you do need one, text me Monday morning, 7:30, no problem. If you want to book it in, text me Monday morning at 11 o'clock or Monday afternoon at 2 o'clock. There you go, some different times. If you want to book into the Prado Hospital, whatever you want, doesn't bother us, you know. And then when you crack a piston, we've got engines in stock. We're actually doing engine repairs. So here's a tip for people that listen. If you want a quick fix and just have a piston replacement, the cheapest actual way to get these back on the road, that's going to be an option with us. The cheapest, best way to get it on the road, a piston swap, right? So it's going to be very cost effective. I'm not recommending it, but it is a good, cheap. It's better than a rebuild. It's better than an engine from the wreckers because you're getting brand new, genuine pistons. And we've got some injectors there that if you can't afford new ones, we've got some, you know, low kilometre 150K injectors, the full DLC ones. If it's one of those engines, they're those pain in the butt upside down EGR bolts. Yeah, glad you did those, not me. See how it works, people? Right, but you know, if I was doing it, I'd be doing it exactly the same. So it doesn't make it, except I'll have gloves on, mate. You getting dirty hands there or what? See, that's what you get for rushing into a job and not thinking putting gloves on. So what we used to do is compression test and camera all the engines. And basically we found nothing useful out of hundreds and thousands of engines. So now we don't camera or compression test any of the engines, generally. Some we do, but generally we don't. This engine's compression will be fine, but by doing a compression test, it could mislead you because you've got a lot of soot and carbon. Remember we talked about, well, so you don't remember because you haven't watched the video. So go back to the inject information playlist. So these injectors, they go into the cylinders. There's going to be bits and pieces of carbon at the bottom. That falls in when we pull the injectors out. Plus you've got what's going on in the intake and the valves. It only takes a little bit of carbon to get under one of the valves. So e.g., as soon as we pull the injectors to put the special tools that we had designed and made by kaon.com.au about 10 years ago. You can buy them off their kaon.com.au website if you want. But then you drop the tool and you clamp it down like an injector. It's got the adapter on there, bada bing. And as soon as you crank it over, those bits of carbon can go under the valve and it can give you a low reading, therefore misleading you to thinking there's a problem with the engine and wasting your time. And yes, that did happen to us a couple of times. It was a learning curve. So beware of your compression test and what you believe. I believe in these engines more than I believe in an accurate compression test. Unless you pull it apart, clean it, put it back together and run the engine with new clean injectors, then maybe pull it apart again and then do the compression test, which would be a waste of time. And so that's the compression test on it. The camera now, yes, we've had a few different cameras. You got to have a very small one that fits through the hole there. And to be quite honest, the maneuverability and what you can see with the dirty, with maybe a bit of oil, a bit of fuel, with all this old cut, it's very difficult to see a crack in a piston via a camera. That whole situation, again, it was a time waster and we never saw any cracks on any pistons. And out of all the thousands of engines we've replaced injectors on, even more with the workshop partners, nobody's replaced injectors and then like had a cracked piston 1,000 Ks later or something like that, you know, like you've done the job and it's driven out and boof, you know. It can happen at 20,000, 30,000. So yes, there could be some damage to these pistons that isn't visible, not necessarily, you can't see that it's cracked yet, or one of those ones. So I'll give you a bit more information on this job. Yeah, those studs that come out. So a bit more information on this job. A reason why it may have lasted this long, possibly without any blow-by, we don't know yet. That'll probably be in the next video because we'll wrap this one up soon, is because I believe, looking at all the clamps in the job, that the injectors have been out before. No time recently, but they might have been out once or twice before, early days, and they might have had them out, they might not have. We'll find out more when we get in there. What do you think so far from the job? Someone's worked on it before, yeah?
Yeah.
Yep. What do you reckon, once or twice, if you had to have a guess? Would you, you know, what's your best guess? Something like that, once or twice probably, or?
Yeah, maximum twice.
We'll see if when we pull the pipes off, if it's a jack in the box, that sort of thing. So it's good to have two opinions. Anyway, we think it's been worked, and that could be why maybe they have been out, they've been reseated, something like that. Maybe it's just lucky. It's not really worth running that risk of luck, to be quite honest. There's a lot of reasons to do the injectors as prevention. But look, you can, if you're towing massive caravans around Australia and you do your injectors late, and late would be non-DSC injectors at 200,000 Ks, that's quite late. If they're not DLC, I recommend about 150K. You can push up to about 200 with the full DLCs, and they're still in a lot better condition than the non-DLCs at probably 120K, right? So the injectors got better with the DLC coating and different designs. There's some different part numbers, different parts, different injectors, so it's a lot of variables, and I can't go into it too much in this video because we'll be here for another half an hour. But the point is, yes, there could have been wrong combustion. You might have had a chip. Maybe the previous owner had a chip, but you've taken it off. But it still had a chip for 100 or 150,000. Yes, some fatigue can happen to the pistons. Then you might replace your injectors, and then 50,000 or 100,000 Ks later because it was wrong combustion, because it's done a lot of towing combined, because it's got a chip, because it's got a tune. There's always reasons. Watch the videos. You'll get the way I think. You'll see the information, and you'll understand what I'm talking about. But there's always a reason, and it's easy to do the preventative maintenance. And the fuel saving compared to the V6, just for Stu here, the fuel saving compared to the V6, if you're using the vehicle touring Australia, big kilometres, fuel economy, remote outback travelling, carrying extra fuel, diesel is much safer, much better fuel economy towing, all that sort of thing. If that's what you're using it for, the injectors are free because there's so many savings. And the V6s, they have got their own problems that cost money. We won't go there because I haven't got time for the arguments with Stu. And we'll wrap this one up. If you learnt something, hit the like button, subscribe, turn the bell on, and we'll catch you on the next video. There'll be more on this one. See ya.